Hello, fans of sports and fans of topics. Welcome to another episode of SporTopics. Basketball season is right around the corner, so we are here to make our yearly predictions of who we think are going to make the postseason this year. I got a great panel of guys here with me to discuss who they think are going to make the playoffs this year. To my left, Lakers fan, obviously, Hector Servin. How you doing?
Good, man. Glad to be back. Good to be back on the show.
Yes, sir. Hector and AJ were both here on our first episode ever, and they're back again here to do another one. AJ, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be back. Love doing this. Wish I'd do it more, Eric.
Well, you know. So like I said, we all have our 8 teams in each conference of who we think are going to make the playoffs this year. And so we're just here to discuss, not really a debate like we normally do. I'll even be in on the conversation. I got my 8 teams on each conference of who I think will make it. So I think we can all get this one out of the way. In the East, the Celtics, I think we all are going to make the top seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yep.
That's pretty much a given. And then we all kind of disagreed on the second one. I put the 76ers as second seed. You guys put Raptors on the second seed there.
Yeah. The Kawhi Leonard is when he's healthy, he's a top 5 player. And I mean, if you've seen the preseason at all, he looks absolutely fine. It makes it pretty clear that the situation in San Antonio was just enough that he just didn't want to play for them anymore. And you know, with him at his top powers, he's good enough to get the Raptors to that second seed in a weak Eastern Conference. So that's just how that shakes out.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kawhi's kind of just in that spot where they're basically renting him. He doesn't want to be in Toronto, but he still wants to make a good impression. He wants to have a good season. He wants to get a lot of points. He wants to look good for those teams in the West that he wants to go to. Hopefully the Lakers, but maybe the Clippers too. There's one of those two. He might go either way, but he wants to look good. He doesn't want to seem like he's gonna have a bad season or get hurt. Like some people think that he's still injured or he might sit out just because in spite of everything. But I think he wants to make a good impression. So I think he'll have a good season.
True. I don't know. I just kind of went with the 76ers. They looked pretty good last year in the playoffs. Joel Embiid, those guys. Toronto. I still like Toronto, so I put them at the 3 seed, of course. But that was what I had on my second seed. And then, Hector, you had Washington as the 4 seed. You were the highest on Washington. I have them at 6, and AJ, you have them also at 6.
Yeah.
So why you like them
I think
at 4?
just the East is so bad, and as far as I think basketball is so centered around star power, and John Wall he's one of the best players in the East, probably one of the top point guards in the East, top 2 or 3.
True.
I just think that the rest going down the line, the rest of the team isn't going to be that great. Not to mention, Bradley Beal's a great 3-point shooter. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be able to knock down some threes, and that's going to be really important to the team as well. They got a decent front court, and again, honestly, you can from 4 to 8, you can kind of just throw a dart, flip-flop.
Yeah.
But I just think I'm just high on Washington just because John Wall. I think his star power is going to help.
Fair enough.
Push the team.
I think John Wall's kind of peaked. I don't think that he's
on the downslope.
He's still very good, but I don't think he's. I mean, the East is weaker, but I think there are up and coming teams. Me specifically, I had the Milwaukee Bucks and the Pacers ahead of the Wizards. I just think that they're younger teams. They're more on the rise than the Wizards are. And you know, to be frank, the Wizards added Dwight Howard this year, and I feel like he's just a locker room cancer, and he's not gonna. He'll do more harm than good for the Wizards. But I mean, on talent alone, they'll make the playoffs still. But I think they're just not gonna live up to expectations, and it's just gonna be another, same old story with the Wizards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think regular season wise, the Wizards are pretty good, really good, and then once playoff comes. They're just going to sneak up the bed. So, yeah, again, I'm with you. I have Bucks and Pacers ahead of them just because I think they're more of a cohesive unit as a whole, whereas the Washington is just a couple players, Bradley Beal, John Wall, and all that. But then, so for me, I have, in my 8th seed, I have barely making it the Cavs this year. None of you guys put the Cavs on there. I don't know if you guys have any feelings about that.
The Cavs are
a lot of
I don't think they're a good team either. But again, you all said it. It's a weak Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Weak Eastern Conference. So I think that the Cavs could have. I mean, they still have Kevin Love, some pieces over there from the trade deadline last year.
Some pieces. Well, you want to name a couple?
They don't even have Reese's Pieces over
They
there.
don't have
Let's be honest.
I mean, okay, you guys have the Pistons pretty high on your guys' board. I don't even think I put the Pistons.
I think Pistons are
You
kind
have
of.
8. He has them at 6.
I think the Pistons are kind of just the old Pistons, man. Just that blue collar ragtag group of players that are gonna play tough defense and they're gonna make some shots.
I mean, they added Blake Griffin.
Yeah, they have Blake
traded
Griffin.
for Blake Griffin. I think that's the only thing they have going for them at this point. They traded
Two
for
big
Blake
men.
Griffin last year. They have Andre Drummond. But that's the thing, though, is they have the two big men. The two big men system, it doesn't work in the NBA anymore.
Not no more.
And we saw it with the Pelicans last year. The Pelicans were better after DeMarcus Cousins went down. That's just the reality of it. You have to play smaller. And with the way that it works in the NBA now, Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin can't carry a team as the two focal points. And Reggie Jackson, as good as he is, he's not good enough to elevate them past all these probably the top 5 seeds that we have.
Yeah. So we can go over to the Western Conference now, the more exciting conference. That one was a little more trickier to do. I figured we'd get the East out of the way first, and then we can get excited about the West. So Hector, you have the Rockets going number 1 again this year.
I think
AJ and I have Warriors.
I think the Rockets have they still have their team intact, and that's what's going to be important, is that having that same team intact. The Chris Paul, you got James Harden.
It's not the same.
No, I think they got worse.
Okay, you have like your main guys.
I mean the main guys.
The main core.
But that's
the
not
role
what
players.
You
the role
need
players
the
out of
good
the way,
role players.
I still think they're just going to be also that overachieving team during the regular season. A lot of teams, like let's say the Warriors, they know they're gonna kill through the postseason. They're not gonna want to put their players on the line during the regular season. There's 81 games. They don't want to have to play Kevin Durant all 81 games. They want Steph Curry is for sure gonna sit out at least 5 or so games because he's gonna need a rest. But I think the Rockets are that team. They're still gonna have that high-powered offense, and they're gonna be the exact same team they were last year, where they were just kind of like that overachieving team that's gonna want to win a lot of games so they can get that number 1 seed. And I think they're gonna redo that again. And Melo, I don't like Melo, but I think if he can play, I'm not a fan of Melo starting. Put it that way. But if they can convince him to come off the bench,
he's not going.
And they can convince him to come off the bench, I think he'll be a solid player off the bench, give some points, and keep the when those stars aren't on the floor, keep them going and keep that same rhythm going that they always have. High scoring offense, maybe not the best on defense, but they did improve on defense last year. But I mean, who plays defense in the NBA anymore, anyways, right?
That's what separates the good teams from the rest of the league, though, is your level of defense. And here's the thing. It's not that the Rockets are going to have a bad season. I just don't think they're going to be a top seed over the Warriors.
No, I don't think so.
That's the deal. I have them at number 2, and that's where I think they'll end up. They're still, a really good team. They have their big pieces. They have Capella, Harden, Paul. They added Carmelo. But, I mean, we're talking about guys that you lost, and Trevor Ariza and Luke Richard Mbamute. Like, those are defensive, anchors on your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Aside from Clint Capella, those guys, they can guard anybody 1 through 4. Those 2 guys, and you lose that. And I mean, you bring in Michael Carter Williams. He's not both of those guys, And you bring in Carmelo Anthony, who at this point in his career basically doesn't play defense. Yeah. And I mean, he's a great scorer for what he is, but he's not coming off the bench to be that 6th man scoring role.
So you don't think they're gonna have? He's not gonna agree.
I don't think he's gonna agree to it. He'll start, and their bench will be a lot weaker because of it, and they'll be a weaker team than they were last year because of it. They're still going to be a better team than a lot of than everybody else, aside from the Warriors, but they're going to be not as good as they were last year. And that's just the.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I think the Warriors got a little better, and the Rockets got a little worse this offseason with the moves they did. But 1 and 2, it could be a toss-up. We'll see what happens. You never know. But what was interesting is me and Hector put Lakers at 3, and then AJ put the Lakers at 4. That's the lowest on the ranks.
I mean, it's not like it's that big a
you
drop.
Put the Thunder ahead of them.
I did put the Thunder
what
ahead
was
of
your reasoning?
Okay, so my thing with the Thunder is I think getting rid of Carmelo and bringing in the guys that they did. They brought in like Nerlens Noel, who plays defense and rebounds, and oh man, I'm blanking on his name now.
Who?
Dennis Schroeder. Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, Dennis Schroeder adds a much needed boost in scoring off the bench, and Nerlens Nowhere plays good defense. He rebounds, and that's something that they missed when Steven Adams wasn't on the floor.
Yeah.
And so I think that they got better as a team, and I mean they were like the 4th or 5th seed last year. You know, Russell Westbrook, him and Paul George clearly have this strange chemistry that is working between them somehow. And I think it really is gonna come out this year, now that they've had a year to work out some growing pains between the two of them. You take Melo out of that complex, and I think it's just a little cleaner now between them, and the Thunder have a better year than they did before.
You know what? I'm not too hot on the Thunder. I actually put them down. They're number 5 in my list, just because Westbrook and Paul George. Paul George, he's just not that guy. He's not that guy.
He had potential, I feel like, and he missed his opportunity.
That's the thing, though. He doesn't need to be that guy.
But that's the thing, though. Westbrook is just such a high motor and all that stuff. I think he's gonna take away a lot of. He's not gonna spread the ball as much. He's not gonna be spread out in scoring. He's gonna want to take up. He's just that high power, high motor guy, and I don't think he has. I felt like Kevin Durant was more of his a good piece for him, because Kevin Durant still could take over games, but Paul George is just going to sit back and he's just going to watch Westbrook do his thing, and then Paul George, he'll have a good game here and there, but I just don't trust him. And not only that, they have no 3-point shooters. Who's going to shoot the 3 for them? I mean, yeah, they have tough big men who can rebound and stuff like that, but no 3-point shooters at all.
It's a 3-point shooter.
It's a 3-point shooter in league, and Lakers. The reason I put them at number 3, I think. LeBron came, and of course that's going to be a boost. I think people are underrating them. I mean, you got Rondo at number 1 at the 1. That's that first unit is awesome. Rondo,
who shoots
LeBron.
On that first unit?
And they don't shoot the 3, but they're going to be a high-powered offense, and I think they're going to be a lot better defensively than people think. Because Rondo's he can be a good defender.
Rondo
he can be a good defender. LeBron's going to do his thing. He's just going to of course make everybody better on that team. And then off the bench, I think people are underrating off the bench. Lonzo Ball is a great defender, great rebounder. He's gonna give some good scoring opportunities for that second unit. I think there's no shooters right now. They have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's probably gonna be the best shooter on the team. That's gonna be LeBron's kind of like go-to when he drives and kicks it out. But I don't think they're done yet. I think mid-season, right before the trade deadline, they're gonna make a trade that's gonna surprise us all, and they're gonna get some shooters on there. And I'm really excited for that team. Of course I'm biased, I'm a Laker fan, but not only that, I think the wow factor for the Lakers is Ingram. I think this year he's gonna explode with LeBron right there. I mean, if you've seen him in the preseason, he's Kevin Durant-esque. He's long. He can shoot.
Like he's too skinny.
He's skinny.
I mean,
he's really skinny.
I mean, we said the same thing about Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
he was very skinny for a lot of years, and it took him a while to really pack it on. But he'll be fine. I agree. I think Brandon Ingram does come out this year.
I think he does too.
I think Kuzma ups his game a little bit. I don't think his the ceiling, the proverbial ceiling is as high, but I think he'll come out. He can be a 20-point scorer, and Ingram will probably put in about 24. LeBron can, he'll go from anywhere from 22 to 30 if he wants a night, and it'll really. I mean, I'm high on the Lakers too. I don't know. I feel like the team that they have, the way that they play, there's a lot of like playmakers. Like they pass the ball, you look for your teammate, and they're really in a move the ball phase right now. And I think it's gonna, at some point, you're gonna look for somebody to score, and I think that they're gonna have a hard time figuring out who it's gonna be besides LeBron. LeBron is like the obvious go-to player, but I mean you need more than one guy, and I think what's gonna hold them back a little bit, and I think it'll just be the early part of the year, is that they need to find who's going to be the second option, who's going to be the third. They really need to work and figure out the pecking order, in a sense. And I think that'll take a little bit of time, and that's why I don't have them so high. But other than that, it's just the regular season, and once they get to the playoffs, it's the LeBron show basically. And we've seen, like, with LeBron teams, it doesn't matter what seed he comes in.
Doesn't matter who's on his team.
His teams are going to perform in the playoffs. I mean, this team right now is far and away much better than the team he took to the finals last year. So,
way better.
It has a great mix of veterans, a lot of young talent, and it's just a good situation that the Lakers have, and I just think they're going to come out of the gates a little bit slow, and then they'll pick
I think so too.
I agree.
Even when LeBron went to Miami, they started out so-so, and then they got into that next gear and made it. And so, speaking of underrated teams, and speaking of LA teams, number 8 seed in my Western Conference, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if I had put the Clippers in there. I just think they got some good pieces. Probably you don't know them, but I watched them like every game.
Give me a couple pieces.
6th man of the year, Lou Will.
Okay, Lou Williams.
Lou Will,
Right,
Tobias Harris.
The Clippers are going to be
Is
the
there
Lakers of
anybody
3
else?
years ago. That's what they are. The Lakers 3 years ago.
Patrick
Lou Williams.
Beverly.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Patrick
no,
Beverly.
Yeah.
Who's gonna score? Who's gonna score for them other than Lou Williams?
Who isn't going to score is a better question.
What do you mean? Who isn't going to score? Lou Williams is going to score. Tobias Harris is
Yeah.
going to score. The rest of the team, they all play defense after that? Like,
Yeah,
that's-
they're a tough team. They're a bunch of tough guys. A bunch of like
Defense
hard-working
wins
guys.
championships.
Defense
That's
wins
the oldest
championships, but
trick in the
gotta-
book.
Yeah.
you still have to score points. We talked about it earlier. The league is about scoring
Yeah.
right now.
It is.
And if you don't score, you don't win. The Clippers can't do that.
Exactly. So nobody scores on the Clippers. They don't win.
I can't.
It's easy as that.
I love the reasoning, but I can't.
Yeah, no,
I
they're gonna
can't
get shredded.
fathom.
Okay, they were only 2 games out of the playoffs last year.
That was last year when they
yeah.
had Blake Griffin for half the year.
for half the year, and then we did better when he was gone. We did tremendously better because we were able to spread the floor, not just posting down low, giving it to him and lobbing it anymore. We were able
Whatever the case may
spacing.
be.
I just
Aside from how good or bad the Clippers will be, I just think there's teams. So what seed did you have them again?
I had 8, barely making
8.
it.
What were your other? What was it? 4 through 7. What's your 4 through 7?
4 through 7, Jazz, Pelicans, and Spurs.
Jazz.
You know what? I have
Pelicans,
the Jazz
Spurs.
as
Okay,
4.
I actually have that too.
I like the Jazz a lot.
So the team I took out from last
Wait,
year to include the Clippers was the Timberwolves. I don't think the Timberwolves.
No, the
make it.
No,
Timberwolves
I don't think the Timberwolves
have
are going to make it.
no.
But you don't have.
So I don't have the Blazers and Nuggets.
You
who are
don't,
the
exactly. The
Yeah.
Blazers,
other-
Nuggets, and Timberwolves, I think, are all more likely to make the playoffs.
I don't think the
ahead of
Timberwolves.
I don't think
Okay,
Timberwolves.
I don't think the Clippers. I don't think the Timberwolves will make it, but I think they have a better chance than the
chance.
Clippers. Is my point.
Yeah, you know what? Who I'm really high on right now is the Jazz. I think they're gonna have a really good season. I really believe in like their coaching. I really like what they do with their team. Donovan Mitchell he's
the real deal.
a stud.
He's the
That guy's a
real
stud.
deal.
And
Donovan
not only
Mitchell
that,
is-
they have
Man
that
of my
Ricky
age.
Rubio's a great. He's a great facilitator.
Absolutely.
And then their front court is ridiculous. Derek Favors and Rudy Gobert. Who's gonna rebound on them? Who's going to rebound against them? Those guys are huge, and they're great defenders. Like they're going to be a surprise team. I think I put them in as number 4.
I got them as 4.
I have them
as
above
5.
OKC.
I have them 5.
Yeah, they're going to be a surprise team. You know what? The Spurs I put in as number 6. They don't have that core that they had.
A lot of
before.
people are doubting the Spurs.
No.
I'm down in the Spurs. Not gonna lie, I'm at
I
7.
think the Spurs. Here's the thing: the Spurs made the playoffs last year without Kawhi Leonard.
Exactly.
Okay, it's roughly the same team. I mean, you're gonna tell me they don't have Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, but they
didn't help that much
weren't
last year.
such big impacts where their loss is gonna be felt anymore.
Yeah, the
I
impact
mean,
isn't
the great careers, amazing players, Hall of Fame, both of them, but they just aren't the players they used to be. Them leaving is not gonna set the Spurs back. You add DeRozan and Poeltl, I think, from Toronto, and you're a better team than you were last year already. So I don't see why. I did some research on this when I was looking, and I had a lot of experts were counting the Spurs out. The Spurs are going back, and even aside from the players on the team, Greg Popovich is still the head coach.
You don't doubt Popovich.
The system.
He's
It
just-
doesn't matter who he
yeah.
has. It's.
I mean, yeah, he can have as many bums as he wants. He's just gonna put those players in the right position for them to score. And I think that's what DeRozan didn't have in Toronto. The coach, I forgot his name.
Dwayne Casey.
Yeah.
Dwayne Casey.
Dwayne Casey.
He just didn't know how to fit those pieces together, and I think Popovich is going to know how to use DeRozan's and use his skills and put that as an advantage for the team. And they still have a solid team, good amount of veterans. It's horrible what happened to their young player, the point guard. I forget his name. Murray.
Yeah.
Torn
That guy was
ACL.
good.
I think
I like that.
He was ready for a breakout year.
But I still think with DeRozan, they still have LaMarcus Aldridge. They have Pau Gasol, who's a good veteran power forward, who's going to give him, a good 15, 20 minutes a game, if not more. Going to give him at least, 10 points, 10 rebounds. 10-8. I think he'll
Yeah.
average like 12, 8, 10, 8.
He rebounds. He plays defense.
Exactly.
He can give you a bucket.
He's
if
going to
you
give him
really
some
want.
good buckets. They don't have the three. I think Patty Mills still a good 3-point shooter.
Danny Green too, right?
Danny Green.
Green's
They're
on
still
the
gonna.
team,
They still have some good shooters there. And DeRozan, I think he's gonna give him that spark. And they're gonna be I think at least the bottom three, they're gonna be within that bottom three.
I think so,
probably
too.
probably low to mid tier team. Yeah, they're gonna do. I think they'll be good. Of course, Popovich, you can't count him out.
Never count on Popovich.
No, he's like the
But-
Bill Belichick
Yeah,
of basketball.
It is.
Yeah.
They're interchangeable. They're gonna put their players in the right place to score.
Well, that's who we have making the playoffs. Let us know down below if you guys agree with us, which ones you don't agree with. And I know only time will tell, so we'll have to be watching this year to see who makes the playoffs. And we'll see you next time on SporTopics. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace out.
Bye.